What's up, friends? Welcome back to Hobby Vomit. It's me, Matt, and I am finally bringing you another Weekly Retch. It's been quite a few weeks. It was my turn to do it, I think 2 weeks ago now, and I got back from vacation that you may have heard Ian talk about. We all went to his lake house in Oklahoma, and basically the day I got back, I got sick, and it's still lingering. It'll be 3 weeks on Monday. But I feel much, much better. And so I tried to record a retch, and I just wasn't up to it. And so I've just been pushing it off until today. So here we go. It might be a longer one because this is like, I don't know, a month and a half of stuff. Some stuff I'll just breeze over. But as always, if you've never seen the Weekly Retch here on Hobby Vomit, we basically talk about what books we've read, what movies and shows we've watched, and then what games we've played over the last X amount of weeks. Ian and I typically rotate, so it's my week. And we're going to start with books this time. I think I will start with books from now on, just because it seems like maybe that's the most exciting part of the Weekly Retch, at least for me. So, what books have I read in the last however many weeks? So, we finished Dead House Gates. Let's start with that. Oh, man. Was it a life-changing book. It was incredible. I mean, it's long, but whew, I'm sad it's over. It was one of those things that I put down, I closed the back cover, and it's just sat with me since. It just gets better and better the more I think about it. So Ian and I have been doing our Dead House Gates discussions. We just posted our final one yesterday. So if you ever do read Dead House Gates or Malazan and want to follow along with us, we do a book-by-book breakdown or a part-by-part breakdown of each book. And so we got to post our final one and do that discussion, which was a lot of fun. And then hopefully sometime in the next couple weeks, we'll be posting our final review, basically, of the book. But spoiler alert, it's a 5 out of 5 from me, basically a 6 out of 5. It might be the best book I've ever read, if not top 3. I mean, I could see it and Lonesome Dove juggling back and forth, but whew, as much as I love Lonesome Dove, this one, just the impact of it was, I think, greater. So, really, really good. What else have I been reading? Been reading The Devils. We wrapped up part 3 of The Devils. Been going pretty slow with The Devils for our book club. And Ian and I posted a discussion of part 1 and 2. I think we decided we're either going to just stop doing that for The Devils or we'll finish the book. There's only 4 parts, so we're going to finish. So we're starting part 4 now. If we finish it and feel it warrants a discussion, we'll do that. If not, we'll just do a review. But I'm enjoying it. I think it's good. Like you'll hear a lot of other people say, it is really good. It's a good book. But compared to other Joe Abercrombie, I do think this will probably be my least favorite. Although I will say part 3 was my favorite of the 3 parts. We finally got some stakes, and the character growth was really good, and the world building was really good. So I'm excited to get into part 4 and to wrap up the book. But really, it's just a fun romp. And so I'm ready to kind of get going. There's not too much to digest. So once I kind of finish a part, I'm like, all right, I don't really need to discuss it too much. So ready to wrap that up and move on to something else. But overall, enjoying it. I think it's probably going to land at like a 3.75 or a 4. It's going to kind of depend on this last part. But yeah, that's The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. All right. Oh yeah, I brought some of the books in, so I guess I'll do in the order that I stacked it. Let me show them. The Devils. So, not too much more to go. Next, I am doing a reread of Mercy, Tears of the Fallen by Chance Dillon. This is the advanced review copy that Chance was nice enough to send. Ian and I are both doing a read of this. This is a reread for me and his first read. We are going to do a discussion series, but unfortunately with me being sick for 3 weeks and Ian is about to have his 4th baby, I think we just unfortunately are not going to have time to do that. But I'm still enjoying the reread, and we are both signed up to do the alpha read for his second book. So we are working on getting this done so we can jump into that. But yeah, really, really enjoying my reread of it. It's been fun to kind of see those seeds that Chance planted early on that I missed the first time. So it's been really fun to do that. But yeah, that's Mercy, Tears of the Fallen. If you don't know about that book, it's coming out this month, so you can pre-order on Amazon stuff. If you're into like Malazan or Elden Ring, that's kind of how he pitches it, and I would agree. I think you should snag it. It's $4, $5, and you can support a new author. So I'm also reading The Tyranny of Faith by Richard Swan. This is book 2 in a series, or in a trilogy. I read The Justice of Kings 6 months ago or so, and really, really liked it. It's kind of like fantasy lawyer, fantasy horror, some like cosmic horror elements, but really a lot of like judicial side of fantasy. And yeah, I'm really liking this book. It is told in a fashion I don't particularly love, which is first person, but this is first person past tense, which I think helps me a little bit. So far, the things I've bounced off the most have been first person present tense, but there are some of those that still work for me as well. But this is first person past tense. If I had a critique, that would be it. It's not my favorite, way of storytelling, but I think this is really just improved on everything from book 1. The character work is really good. Normally I'm not super into like the judicial side of things. It's a lot of politicking. I like politics, but I feel like this goes even deeper because it goes into the judicial side of it. And it's been really fun, honestly. You can tell it's written by a lawyer for sure, but I think that lends itself to nicely to it. It gives itself like a unique. It's like a breath of fresh air for it being like a typical fantasy kind of. But yeah, really, really like it. I've heard the third book is a little more divisive, so we'll see. I'm let's see. I'm a little over halfway through, and it's been incredible. I imagine it's going to end on a high because the first book also ended on a really strong note. So we'll see going into book 3. I'll probably finish this book and take another couple months in between. But we'll see. I might just jump in depending on how it ends. So what else am I reading? House of the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. And we are reading this for our family book club. We are about, a third of the way through. This is, for this book, I've been reading it out loud for Bree. It's our breeding. And because I've been sick, we just have not touched this book for about a month now. Was really enjoying it, but I'm just waiting my voice is finally back, so we'll probably start it up again soon. I think we're going to be reviewing this in about a week or so. So we'll have it knocked out by then. But this is fun. It's like a caseworker's going to an orphanage for magical children and basically making sure the children are being cared for properly. And the task that he's been given this really, secretive task in which the orphanage that he goes to has the Antichrist. And that's not spoiled. It's on the back and everything. So it's him kind of it's a lot of like, don't judge a book by its cover. It's very like cozy and positive vibes, teaching you nice lessons. So really enjoying it. It's very digestible. It's nothing like it's a big step away from what we did last month, which was Lonesome Dove. This is way more easy to read, and hopefully everyone likes that. We're liking it so far. We'll see. I'm not loving it, but I'm enjoying it. Next, Bree and I started Sharp Ends by Joe Abercrombie. This is like a collection of short stories that takes place in the world of the First Law, and I think you are supposed to read this after the 3 standalones, which we just finished Red Country, but before the Age of Madness trilogy. So that's what we're doing. We've only read the very first one, but it was fun to see some characters that we knew, and I'm excited to continue that on kind of just when we've got some time for like an hour or something. We'll probably focus on the Devils for now, and then this will come after the Devils. All right, so let's see. That's all the ones I have. Oh, no, I have one more in front of me. All right, giving them one more shot. Brandon Sanderson, Tress of the Emerald Sea. We'll see. Basically, anytime I talk about how I don't love Sanderson, everyone's like, you should. But, sorry, if I say I don't love Brandon Sanderson, but I'm interested in trying one of his standalone books because I read The Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson before Mistborn and before Way of Kings, and I think it's my favorite Brandon Sanderson book. And part of me is feeling pretty convinced that's because it is a self-contained, not that long of a book, and I think that's Brandon's biggest weakness is he's not great at editing, or his editors aren't great at telling him he needs to edit. And so this is only like a 350-page book. I'm not going to rock it through. I'm just kind of reading it when I've got time outside of these books, and I just need almost like a popcorn read because that's kind of what it is. Very, very Princess Bride so far. Very Princess Bride. It feels like someone is sitting down telling me a bedtime story, and I'm enjoying it so far. I'm about 60 pages in, and yeah, enjoying it. I have a feeling I will like this one probably more than Way of Kings and Mistborn, but we'll see how it continues. So I think no, sorry, there are a few more. I had my first DNF, which you may have seen on my ranking list. I DNF'd Cold Silver for Souls by Tori Tekken. Just not really my jam. I gave it 100 pages, and I really just wasn't connecting with the characters or the writing style. I am interested to read other Tori Tekken because she's got an epic fantasy. But this was a first-person present tense, and a lot of the thoughts of the main characters just didn't feel super believable for me because it just kept thinking the same thing over and over again. I'm like, I don't know if people really think like that, but and the biggest part was it's a fantasy western, and we had just come off of Lonesome Dove and Red Country, which are like the best of the best. So I just wasn't vibing, so I DNF'd after 100 pages. And then lastly, I finally finished Night Shift by Stephen King. Finally, I've been reading that book for, I think, like 12 months. But it's just a short story collection, so, I would just read one here and there. Sorry, timer went off. Really enjoyed it for short story collections. I don't know where I would rank it. I had a hard time thinking about it because I've read Skeleton Crew, Night Shift, and You Like It Darker. And I know that Night Shift is considered the best. But honestly, maybe it's because it's the first Stephen King book I was able to buy. But I really like You Like It Darker. I think it's way better than it gets credit for. There are some duds, certainly, but there's also duds in Skeleton Crew, and there are also duds in Night Shift, for sure. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But Night Shift, I think the highlights for me were really him writing not horror. So there's Last Rung on the Ladder and The Woman in the Room, both really, really beautiful short stories that aren't horror. And I always appreciate when Stephen King throws those in because it just proves that he's just not just a pulp horror writer. And I don't even think he's a pulp horror writer, but that's kind of the reputation he gets. But so, yeah, finished Night Shift as well. So, yeah, excited for the next month of reading. We'll be finishing probably all of those books that I listed. Maybe... maybe Sharp Ends we won't finish, but we'll see. All right, let's talk about the movies that I watched. We all went and saw The Materialists when I was in Dallas on that trip, and wow, what a dud. What a dud. I was really, really excited to see it because I'd heard really great things about Celine Song from Past Lives. I haven't seen Past Lives, but heard great things. And it's depending on who you ask, a good cast with Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans and Dakota Johnson. But ooh boy, was it bad. It was bad. I struggle. No, that's not true. I don't struggle trying to find something good about it because I think on paper the messages it was sending and the story itself were really good. But yeah, Celine Song she needs to have someone come in and rewrite her dialogue because it was some of the worst dialogue I've ever heard. And I also think, I will say, I think she did a pretty good job at directing. A lot of the shots and stuff were nice, but it just was the most unbelievable, just kind of crap. If I'm being honest, we all left being like, did anyone else think that was horrible? Because it was pretty horrible. So I gave it a 2. I think they're a 2 out of 5. I think there are things to like. Again, more on like the film side, the technical aspect side of it. And it's hard to tell whether those 3 performances were bad because I think Pedro, Chris, and Dakota were all bad. It's hard to tell if that's because they were actually bad or just because of their direction and the dialogue. And part of me leans towards... I don't love Pedro and I don't love Chris, and I've never seen anything with Dakota Johnson. Well, that's not true. I've seen Suspiria, and she's great in that. And I've seen Chris and Pedro in good things as well as mixed things. So, but I think it was really the dialogue and the direction that gave them such bad performances. But yeah, so that was the worst thing I watched all month. unfortunately. But we also watched some hockey, which was super fun, watching the Stanley Cup. That was awesome. Then I was sick, and so I did a lot of TV watching. I watched Ted Lasso all of season 1, all of season 2. This was a rewatch of all of 1 and 2. Season 1's borderline a masterpiece. I think it's one of the best seasons of TV ever made. Super wholesome, just great writing. Season 2, I think, was pretty mid. I think there's some parts of it that are really good. Half of it felt a little meandering and pointless, and some of it felt weird and bad to me. Like there's a boss employee relationship that's super inappropriate and just kind of goes against the grain of what Ted Lasso is about. I won't spoil about who or what, but and the ending I thought was like meh. It didn't make me super excited for season 3, but I was like, well, this is where I stopped last time. Maybe I'll watch season 3 and just tough it out, see how it is. Maybe it'll change my mind. I made it about halfway through and I stopped watching because I just thought it was bad. Almost nothing redeemable about season 3, unfortunately. The episodes got longer and the jokes got fewer and further between. Like I think I laughed maybe once an episode. The comedy was just gone. The way the characters went just didn't feel true to the show at all, and I just found myself bored on my phone by the end of every episode. I'd pull my phone out and I just decided to stop watching. So DNF that, which is unfortunate. But I also watched Shrinking season 2, which is the same showrunner. I found out kind of gives me similar vibes. Loved the first season, but to me, I think Shrinking season 2 improved on everything it did in season 1. Kind of the opposite direction of Ted Lasso. It just got better. And so loved Shrinking season 2. It's not perfect by any means. There are a couple things that feel forced in, so characters have some dilemmas, just like in Ted Lasso, which I didn't love. But I still feel like overall it was a much better season of TV. So excited for that to continue. All right, what else did I watch? I started Silo. I've heard good things about that. Watched the first 2 episodes, and it was good. I think episode 1 was really good. Episode 2 was fine. Good enough I'm curious to continue watching it. I watched a lot of How I Met Your Mother when I was sick just to help not be sick, I guess, or feel something. And then 2 other movies I watched. I watched Dee Dee, which is a coming-of-age story, and really liked it. I'm supposed to do a video review or a movie discussion with my brother, but the sickness just got me, so I think we'll probably just do another one later. I gave that a 4 out of 5. Really, really liked it. Really good coming of age. Kind of reminded me of 8th grade a little bit. Very nostalgic for me. It was about a kid growing up in the early 2000s, and so there was a lot for me to connect with, and so I think that kind of boosted a little bit. But really liked it. And then I watched 12 Angry Men, which, again, we were supposed to do a movie discussion, but between sickness and scheduling, we might still. We'll see. But that was Ian's suggestion. Really liked it. It's one of those movies that, like, it does not matter who you are. I guess that's not really true. If you watch and don't like it, then I don't want to be your friend. I know you can walk away from that and be like, I just disagree with this movie. It's one of those that, like, says a lot. There's a lot of important things said in that movie, but really, I love single location movies. It's a classic for a reason, for sure. So I gave that a 4.5 out of 5. Well, not perfect, but really, really enjoyed my watch of it. And then games, we'll just briefly go over what games. If you are curious about all of the games that we played over that weekend at Ian's, because we did play a lot, you can check out his last Retch, because he lists them all out. Other than that, we played some Marvel Champions. Like always, Ian and I did post our final game of the Fantastic Four campaign last week. And we do have plans to start a new Skrull Invasion custom campaign in the upcoming next couple of weeks. It's kind of tough to tell with he's got the baby on the way, so we're not kind of locking anything in just so he can be there for his family and everything. So at some point in the future, we're going to be starting that, which is exciting. I also played Bone Wars, which is the sequel to the game Oak. It's not the sequel to the game Oak, but same designer as Oak, Wim Goosens, I can't remember his name. But it's kind of during this time in history where there's two archaeologists were like competing, and so you're kind of siding with both of them. It's a Euro game. You're siding with both of them and like digging up bones and discovering species and moving around your camps. But really, it's an action selection game with a rondelle and not a set collection. It's not a sex collection either, but not a set collection. But you are collecting like certain tiles too. It's almost like a contract fulfillment. You pick up these species that want specific types of bone tiles. We're getting really close to a lot of words here, guys. Specific types of bone tiles, like a tail or leg bones or whatever, and then you need to turn those in for not points, but for what do they call them? Basically, just like research, which you put on the side. You give to the person you're working with, one of those two archaeologists, and then halfway through the game, you'll score depending on how much research and favor you've obtained with each archaeologist. So it's really interesting scoring system. I didn't love the scoring system. It's a very low scoring game, and it feels like you're doing a lot just to get little points. You only get points halfway through, and then at the end of the game, there's not really a lot of points on your turn, so it can feel a little bit like you're doing a lot for a little, but the gameplay is super, super fun. So that's Bone Wars. Then I played Honey Buzz for the first time with the Fall Festival expansion, which I had heard that Honey Buzz by itself was a little light, but with the Fall Festival modulars, it really makes it like a full game. Like the base feels a little lacking without it. So I just went ahead and got that and played with all of the modulars. And yeah, super fun. You're playing as like bees, and you're building up a hive, I guess, and selling honey. And I don't really know. I'm so bad at theme with Euros, guys. It's rough. But you're basically like building out tiles in front of you, and the tiles have different actions on it. So then when you complete like a hexagon, you can then take all the actions on those tiles. And yeah, there's like a market, so different honeys are worth different value, and then there are contracts, so you're fulfilling contracts as well. But yeah, I really liked it. Plays pretty well solo. Excited to play it again. I was pretty just entranced the whole time. Was locked in. I could see. I would never play without the modulars. Personally, it just feels like it's still fairly light, even with all the modulars. So I just can't imagine. I think it would be too light without them. And then lastly, Bree and I played Hot Streak, which is a mascot racing game, and man, is it good! And we only played it at 2, which is arguably the worst player count because it's like a party racing game, almost like a Camel Up. But it honestly plays pretty well at 2, and it is very similar to Camel Up mixed with Ready, Set, Bet, in the sense of like you're taking betting tiles that are going to pay out at the end of the race. That's kind of like the Camel Up side, and it's kind of goofy and unpredictable. But the Ready, Set, Bet side is that you do all the work up front, and then when the race starts, you just kind of let the race go, which I guess is not really like Ready, Set, Bet because you're betting throughout the race. But in the sense of like the race just goes. Camel Up, there's a lot of like the camel moves 1, and then it's like pause, everyone stop. Does anyone want to bet? And there's none of that. It's like once the race goes, you just get to kind of enjoy the race. But the fun part's a deck of cards, and basically you turn over a card, and it tells you which mascot is going to move. And they can move forwards, they can change lanes, they can just fall over, then get eliminated, then go backwards. They're all over the place. But the fun part is everybody gets to see the deck of 15 or however many cards. I think it's 15 or something. But then each of you get to add in a single card to that. And so it could look like the hot dog mascot's going to do poorly, but you get to add in that he's going to do really well. So you kind of get a little edge on the bet. Super, super fun. We had a great time. I can't wait to play it with more people. But honestly, it plays pretty well at 2, surprisingly. We were just doing it just so I could see what it was like, but we both had a great time. So that's Hot Streak. And yeah, I went through it quick. We got through it quick. We're getting better. Who knows if we'll have a Retch next week, because Ian will have a new baby. So it might be another couple weeks. If he doesn't do one next week, I'll do one the week after, and at least mine will be up. I say that, we'll see. But yeah, that's the Weekly Retch. I'm Matt. This is Hobby Vomit. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Goodbye.